I think I'm live, and I've got the dog barking, so that's always a good thing, fortunately. All right, so it is Just So Trish. It's Mama Chat on the Just So Trish channel, and this is where us mamas get to have a virtual hangout that happens almost every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern time. So if you want to make sure that you're part of Mama Chat and you don't miss it, go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below and hit the bell next to that so you'll get notified when I go live. So Addie, hold on a second. Addie, somebody thought she should sit on the side of the couch, and it didn't end well. And she's not feeling well. Come here, let me see it. Come here. And because this is real life of what's going on. And let me see your back. Let me see it. Don't sit on the couch. You're going to fall over. Oh, yeah, I see it. You're okay. Oh, you got it. She's like, I'm not okay. So anyways, we will hang out from 2 to 3 o'clock, and we'll just get to hang out. For those that are here on the live cast, you will be able to be part of the conversation in the chat box. For those afterwards, not to worry, I will be reading everybody's comments as we go. There you go. All right, so today's, like, what do you want to talk about? It's just kind of open style. And I had some comments that were left earlier in the open chat, and I went ahead and wrote them down. And so I'm going to go ahead and go through our chat right now, and then I will read those. So Crystal Van Meters made it. Tanya's here. Alicia said, I made it for the beginning, so she's very excited. I guess it doesn't happen very often to get here at the beginning. Angela says hello to everybody. Antonia says, woohoo, here for the beginning. Tanya says the AC man's coming today. Ooh. North to Alaska. Wow, how cool. Hey, how are you? Lone Star says, missed your chat. I love Weight Watcher Freestyle. Oh, cool. That's awesome. So I will tell you, last week, I was supposed to meet my husband to do some title stuff at the courthouse, and I got there and we did it, and it took longer than I thought. And then I was like, oh my goodness, it's 2 o'clock, and I was still like en route, and I was like, well, I guess it's not going to happen today. Real life happened. So I was a little bit like, I felt so bad. Let's see. Stacy G says, my surgery was moved to July 6th to remove my lower lobe. Please keep me in your family. Yes, Stacy, for sure. Let me write that down. July 6th. Mayflower Homeschool says, hey, hey. Marissa says, hello from New York. Monica says she's here. And Antonia is definitely praying for you. So some of the comments I got in the very beginning when I went ahead and posted this live, and I'll try to do that again. Like, I'll try to make that routine to do. You know, you're pushing an ADHD limit on that, but I mean, I can definitely train myself into doing it. So I do want to start off with Creative Minds had the question, wondering how I keep my kiddos from junk on the internet about to start online math and need math possibly and need advice. Let me make sure I write that down. And I will tell you, Green Gables said that OpenDNS is a good filter at the router level, and they've tested a few others like Covenant Eyes and Disney Circle, but they weren't as effective. So let me write that one down too, just for something for myself to check in. OpenDNS is a router filter. All right, so sorry as I'm like getting through my stuff to go. Okay, Lady Flora says hello from Florida. And all right, so then other ones I had was simple exercising for when you're really out of shape. How to know what to purge, continue encouraging and strengthening mom friendships. How I balance being a mom of 6, homeschooling, cleaning, mom time, and then how do I schedule my meals, and will I be having more babies? So those are the questions I got so far. If you've got any more, write them in all caps. Just turn the caps lock on and write them so I know to write them down, and we'll try and get to them today. Okay. So I do want to tell you, I had a really cool experience with last week, because after I got done and everything worked out, Wednesday I actually got to go and hang out with some girlfriends of mine from college, and that was like just amazing. And I say girlfriends because loosely, because we're like old now, kind of deal. So I'm just like, but it was so much fun kind of being around, how do I put this? I've been trying to explain this, and I'm like, you know, the way I was educated and the way I was trained to think as an engineer, and especially as a woman to do this, I think a lot differently than most people. And most people, I'm writing things down as I talk, and most people I'm around. And so a lot of times the way I come at things, or the way I deal with things, or the way I'm whatever, I get a lot of like, you have four heads, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? And so it was really nice being with people that were trained to think just like I was taught to think. So that's definitely one. Okay, so another question came up is what curriculum I am using next year. Starbucks says hello from Alabama. I just found your YouTube videos 2 weeks ago. I'm so glad you made it to Mama Chat. This is my first live chat. This is our 6th year homeschooling, but I started working part-time, so it's been an adjustment. Oh, I bet it has been an adjustment. Darcy says she's so happy to be here. Love Mama Chat. Antonia says she needs vehicle suggestions for 7-passenger long-legged boys. Minivan not working. Okay. I'm going to hopefully like Creating Essence will get in here because she will totally dominate that. I love your videos because you keep it real and honest. Thank you. You know, if you can't fake it, then just shock and awe with honesty, right? Keeping it real. Lori says, nothing is wrong with you. God has created you to be a blessing to others who need your ways. Thank you. But it was just so nice to kind of be in my natural habitat, per se. And you know what was funny? This is what shocked me the most. You know, so I feel a lot of times in the professional world that I'm an engineer, irrelevant compared to my counterparts my professional community, because I now stay at home. I do not regret staying at home. I will pick staying at home over working any day of the week. This is where I want to be. But a lot of times I do struggle with just kind of feeling like I'm missing out on it. And so there's this lie I've been telling myself that if well, and it's just like working out with doing my engineering stuff and doing, like, I was a stormwater designer, so I dealt with the flow of water a lot. And so here I am, and I hijacked my girlfriend. She was at a convention, and I hijacked and I crashed at her hotel, and I kind of was staying at the hotel of the convention, and got to talk with friends and got to talk to other people. The biggest shock I had was I really assumed even the ones that like lived really close together, they were staying in touch and they were being social, and you know, they're being social with their professional counterparts, and they were doing all this part. What shocked me the most was how absolutely lonely the my female professional community was. And that was mind-blowing to me, because here in my like little mind, I'm thinking they're going out to eat with people, they're having lunch with people, they're always seeing people, but that's not always the case. And that was kind of shocking to me, and I didn't realize I really did have more of an advantage because I had the flexibility to make events happen, if that makes sense, to make things happen. So that shocked me. And then I was a little bit like, they're like, hey, what are you, when I was meeting new people, they're like, hey, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, I'm between things. I wasn't really sure. Leona, put the broom down. Leona, put the broom down. I was kind of like I didn't really want to give it out that I was a stay-at-home mom. So after I'm talking to folks for a little bit, then then I'd be like, okay, in all seriousness, I stay at home with my 6 kids and I homeschool them. I'm not working. And every one of them was just like, oh, you're living the dream. And that was even more shocking to me. I wasn't really quite prepared for it. Because, sometimes we kind of like grass is always greener on the other side. So everybody's in their pasture. And they get to this concept that the grass is greener on the other side. And even though they want to be in the place that they're at, they still kind of are mourning, like, what are they not getting the opportunity to do? And to me, that was just so monumental. Like, I'm where everybody wants to be. I'm living the dream, and I'm not even appreciating that I'm living the dream. In some cases, they can't afford not to work. Some cases, they're terrified not to work, and they want to be a stay-at-home mom, but they're terrified to be a stay-at-home mom. And that fear just paralyzes them. And, my heart breaks because I'm like, you only got a few more years with your kids at home. These times are precious. You can go back and do it and be relevant later on. And it's not going to be easy, but listen, you're going to regret not trading out these last 5, 6, 7, 8 years with your kids in the end. So those kind of things definitely came up, and it worked out really good because in the end, so we're like in a group social setting and we're networking. That's what they call mingling of professionals, networking. And we're networking and we're talking. But when they get into their kids, I would start handing advice. And I'm like, now, and just depending on what topic they talked about, that advice would come up, like, hey, here's some really good reading books that you should be reading to your kids. Have you looked at this math program instead of getting a tutor? And we're just kind of going back and forth. And, and it was so funny because not just the moms, but the dads were just like, oh, you have so much information. And here they're doing this conference on a professional community level. And yet what I was bringing to the table as a stay-at-home mom, as, kind of like one, and I think in some ways I had relevance to them because, I'm one of them, but I'm withdrawn from that professional community and I'm doing something different. And for them, they were just like, whoa, that is so cool. So that was like, I can't even begin, just a level of encouragement that I wasn't even like aware that I was going to receive, and such a gift, besides the fact of getting to be with my girlfriends and just having that continuity again. So Monique says, yes, Trish, being a mom is great, but there are trials that we go through, especially if we are used to living a certain type of way. We are social people. Yes. Yeah, Tanya says, yeah, you wouldn't think about loneliness with them. It wasn't, it definitely wasn't thinking. Crystal says, have you ever considered that your job out of the house was controlling the flow of water and yet your house got flooded? It seems like there could be a message in God with that. Well, that's master plan flooding and master plan stormwater, but isn't that funny? But it did make me kind of like, I can talk to the right people and we can discuss what was going on here and what needs to be fixed. So I did have that kind of level that I had, but not really. EMC mom's got a smiley face for me. Husband, Rita Mine says, my husband loves to tell me I'm longing the dream. My dream was way less work though. Living the dream, that she's living the dream, right? And like every day is perfect. So let me go through and let's start working through some of these questions. And if you get them, I'll try to write them down because I got to be careful because, I'll start talking and we'll never get to the questions at all. So I'm going to tell you simple exercise after having 6 kids. And even though I don't look out of shape, I feel out of shape. I mean, I still got some good muscle definition somewhere in there. Thanks to carrying babies for over a decade. But I will tell you my number one exercise is walking. I love walking. In fact, I'm a big fan of Walk at Home. Oh, what's her name? I'll have to put some links down below for the Walk at Home videos I really like. But I really love the Walk at Home set. I gotta get that on there. I really like the walk at home set. The really nice part about walking, just simple walking, and by any means, I am not a fitness guru. Yeah, Leslie Sanson, that's who I love. The part I really love about walking is the aspect that it does so much more. So, I don't know if you realize when you walk, you use the same muscles as if you're running, so it doesn't really matter. The difference in that is your heart rate. Yes, I'm going to discuss meal planning. It's on the list. So I like that part. But the other part is when you're walking, you're engaging the same muscles. You're actually engaging involuntary muscles that helps with things flushing the lymphatic system. Walking is a major benefit of the lymphatic system. And the fact, too, that walking is also a lot of times, like I go to the chiropractor a lot, so I deal with a lot of issues with things not being right. But I found that if my body is tight, stress, for stress, or just if my muscles are tight, walking is probably my best way of kind of loosening and realigning on that too. All right. So that is kind of in a nutshell all about walking. Dawn, I'm so happy you made it. Outside of that, I kind of wish I did more, but I don't. And now if you are really out of shape and walking is difficult, start small. And that's the nice part about like when I was really overweight or when I was really coming off of taking care of babies. Why I like Leslie Sanson is because I could do it in my house and I could clock in 5 miles if I needed to, or you could do it in little introverts and just doing 1 mile at a time. The big point is getting it in there and getting worked on it. Nona says, Trish, I'm a certified walk leader, certified through the Walk at Home Leslie Sanson. Ooh, isn't that cool? Nona, I'm so happy you're here. All right, Michelle. Yeah, and I got yours. You must have gave me questions earlier because I wrote them down, but then I lost them. All right, so that's kind of like all I've got. I know that there's like other things you can do, but like nothing simpler than just getting out and walking. There's nothing similar. All right, so how do you know what to purge? And Ambi gave me these 2 questions. I know that part. I did get that part, like, remembered. Does it require a treadmill? No, not at all. It does require you to have a little space. It does a lot of space. I will tell you, I tend not to use the walk at home in our home right now because, oh, you okay? You're so funny. Because, all right, I can't. You have to get Addie to help you. I'm doing a video. All right, go. I don't do it here because we're in a really small mobile home, and the person who had the mobile home set didn't really reinforce the floor very well. It doesn't matter. Every step in this house, the whole house feels it. And just for me, that is a really big, like, thank you. So I don't do any of the walking here, but I wish I did. And I've yet to, so I just actually, for me, I just walk in front of my driveway. I probably can get 3 miles in, just walking in front of my neighbor's house and back up over and back. And because we live in a small house, I tend to take my phone calls that way, and I'll walk my phone calls. And then my neighbor laughs at me. She goes, I can see you're getting your walking in, and you're talking on the phone again. I'm like, pretty much. Yep. Thank you so much. Okay. So the next one is how to know what to purge. This is like not an easy question. I love it. But it's not a really easy question for me because I'm not going to lie. I lean towards hoarding. Compared to my husband, I look like a purger. So my husband hoards more than me, but I tend to keep and save everything. And I will tell you, the best way to know what to purge is to move out of your house and move back in it. If you don't feel like packing it and it's not worth packing to you, it's not worth keeping. I know that sounds crazy, but it kind of has helped me. And then the other aspect is if you have to live smaller than what you live, it definitely helps you purge. So I have been out of town off and on for the last month. Like every couple of days I'm home, and then a couple of days I'm gone, and a couple of days I'm home. And so I'm at the end of that. And one of the hard parts was coming home. My kids did the dishes, but like counters haven't been cleaned and things like that. And I'm just noticing how cluttered everything is. And it kind of puts me into, why am I saving this? Why do I have this on the counter? Like one of them is brewing kombucha, and I got all these kombucha bottles. And I'm trying to slow down my kombucha intake because of sugar. And so I'm like, wait a minute, I don't need 2 brewing systems or 3 brewing systems going. What can I do to like bring this down? And I'm realizing I'm falling in love with the idea of clean spaces. So I keep throwing things out. So one way to think about it is, I have to pack up and move. What am I willing to pack up and move and put into boxes? And what don't I want anymore? Second part is, if you could imagine your living room, whatever's in your living room, whatever's in your bedroom, whatever's in your closet, whatever's in this one drawer you open up, and you could say, I'm at this store and here's this drawer of things that I could buy. What would I feel the need to buy? What would I want to buy? Not what is given to me, what is here for me to have. But if I had to purchase these items, what would I, and I mean, you could put them all in front of the table and go, what is it that I'd want to own? And I'd make it a point to buy, not just have because I have. And at that point, you kind of look at it and go, oh, this is what I would buy. I wouldn't buy this, but I have it. Well, if you have it, but you wouldn't want to buy it, don't keep it. And that's one of the things that I have kind of done with being blessed with hand-me-downs, is laying out the clothes and not keep it because it fits and it's in good quality, but looking at it going, if I was at a store, would I want to buy this? Would my heart be like, oh, this is so cute? Or would I just be like, would I even notice it if I walked by it? And a lot of times we wouldn't. I don't. But those are the 2 things that I've kind of done to try to help me deal with purging and what to purge, because I'm naturally not a purger. I don't want to purge at all. So let's see. How do you regulate what your children are watching on TV and internet? Okay. How I regulate TV, internet, regulate TV, internet. Okay. How do I motivate my kids for schoolwork? I wish I had an assistant. I was trying so hard today to get somebody to stick around and be my assistant. Oh, but she was like, she doesn't do social media. And she was like, no. Okay. Crystal says, Fly Lady Cat has been helping me with that. I've been slacking for the past week, but getting back to my routines and zones. I do, like, I make fun of Fly Lady, but to be honest, I learned a lot from doing Fly Lady. And I feel like when I can get to a point I'm not just surviving, I will be Fly Lady on. So Nona says, I love when I go camping and use the camper trailer. I am amazed what I bring and what I actually use. Very much so. I really like the idea when we get a new home, like having open shelving that I can just put stuff on. And only keeping, like, I don't know, the beauty of mason jars, clean mason jars that are just good to go. Antonia says, books. I cannot purge them. I have purged books. I purged out twaddle that I didn't find of use. And then at one point I wish I had them back. And then I actually was blessed with them back. And then I was like, I didn't want these anyways, and give them away. I tend to definitely look into items. If I have items that I may use and I would have the desire to buy again, I keep them. If I have items that I'm like, I have them, I might use them, but if I didn't have them, I'd never want to use them, then I'm like, those need to go, especially like with curriculum. I'm like, I don't ever want to use this, or I'd never buy this again. I'm like, I will not own it then if I would never want to buy it again. But if I have a desire that I'd want to buy it, I would. But I've had other times where I've had just too many books of one type, or I've had a book that I'm like, we could just check it out from the library. I don't actually need to have a copy of it myself. It's not a book that I feel like I need a copy of it myself. I've enjoyed reading it. Now it needs to go. I get to the point I just want everything gone, put in bags, and then a few days later, I'm digging through the bags again. But that's not a bad thing. Do that. Let it sit there for a month or 2 or 3 or 6, whatever it is. Whatever's still left in the bag after 6 months, get rid of it. You realize you didn't need it. I've done open shelves in all my rooms upstairs. Oh, I love it. So that's how I handle purging. Encouraging and strengthening mom friendships. So, we had that big conversation a couple of mama chats ago about just like making and growing that friendship. So that was a really good mama chat. Definitely go back and check that mama chat out. But I will tell you, from the point of really kind of having that great discussion with all of you and then really trying to follow it through myself, the more I'm confirmed that everybody's sitting around waiting to be invited. And there's not a lot of people. It kind of runs into 2 things. You have to have the time to do it. And then you have to and then there's this other one that I feel like the devil definitely gets us on. I hope you don't hear the TV in the background. Orville, will you turn the TV down? Orville, James, will you turn the TV down? So the other aspect too is it's like there's this concept of like, who am I to coordinate this? Probably I'm not probably the one to coordinate it because I'm not the one in whatever. I kind of felt that way with like all my college friends. I started like this little group and I kind of chat with them, and they only chat if I start chatting, and they'll kind of get back. And in my mind, everybody's doing their own thing and they already get together. And I'm like, who am I to insert myself? I'm not even working, they're working and I just stay at home. And here I'm always doing chats with them. And come to find out, everybody is really thankful that I've put this group together and that I lead them and coordinate them into conversating. And I was just like, really? I feel like I'm being a nuisance. And yet they're just like, thank you so much. And when I was talking to my girlfriends, I have 2 girlfriends. They live like 5-6 hours from me. They work 10 minutes apart and they never see each other. And I was just like, you should be having lunch once a week or at least once a month, something. And they're like, yeah, we should do that. I'm like, I'm coordinating the 2 of you to get together and have lunch because this needs to happen. This isn't, you know what I mean? And they're like, yeah, we kind of need you to coordinate everything. So definitely strengthening mom friendships is getting out there. I will tell you one of the things that I've had come to realize and that I'm dealing with here recently is make sure you're available and you're in the mix of enough moms that have the time available to do. Oh, good. I'm glad your back's okay now. That have the same time availability. So the one thing is that you run into is if you're a stay-at-home mom and all your mom friends that are working, and yet really you can't do anything after 5 o'clock and they can't do anything till 5 o'clock. And when they do get home at 5 o'clock, they get all this other stuff to do. So either you have to meet them where they're at, which means your kids are in the same activities after school and that's what you do, or the fact that, hey. Go get Addie to help you. Hey, go get Addie to help you. In that kind of mode, like go be where their kids are and you do that. Or you need to realize you need to open yourself out and put yourself in a place that you're going to go find the mom friends and get out there. And that might very well just finding one mom friend that has all the stay-at-home mom friends that brings you in and you kind of get brought into that thing. And then, just being available and just making time to do the things you need to do. All right, so here comes the whole, how do you balance being a mom of 6, homeschooling, cleaning, and having mom time? First and foremost, I don't like to clean. I hardly ever clean. I like a picked up home, but I'm not obsessive about it. It's always a work in progress. And I try to get my kids to do as much as possible. So on the whole cleaning thing, they live here. They are typically the ones making the mess. They need to clean it up. And I'm not afraid to say that. And dealing with cleanup, I find it's easier and easier to clean the more I purge. And so part of my cleaning routine lately is like, there's too much stuff here. Let's get rid of stuff. And that's been very helpful. Put your kids to work. Okay, I know there's going to be some like, your kids need to know how to clean. Your kids need to know how to do laundry. Your kids need to know how to do the dishes. For the very beginning years, for probably the first 8 years, I did pretty much all of it because we weren't in a place, and like my kids wash the dishes meant I just made them be at the sink and do stuff. They weren't really washing the dishes. What they were doing is getting into the routine of understanding that they are responsible for that. Now, that does mean I need to be like, hey, you got to do your thing. You got to do your work. But having 6 kids, and really I have the top 4 now from 8 years old and up can get most of everything done. Now I'm doing the meals and I'm typically grocery shopping and kind of reminding them of like, hey, we got to pick up. But outside of that, and like I come in and clean. So I have been kind of cleaning a little bit today, but I only clean when there's a purpose. Like if I get to the point I can't stand all the stuff, I like deep clean and then I'm done. So I kind of only deep clean, and I only deep clean upon my anxiety going crazy or if there's just a good reason to deep clean. If I told you that I balance motherhood with 6 kids, I keep my house clean and my kids are homeschooled to perfection and I get all the mom time I want and I'm having amazing relationship with my husband and quality time and I YouTube and I run into the things I do, I would be a huge liar, a super liar. I tend to only do what's the most important thing at the moment. So today was designing a website for a friend. Now, and I told her, and I said, if you want me to carve out time to do this, I don't have the time to do it. If you come sit with me, I will get it done. It's just kind of how it is. Nobody can do it all. Homeschooling, I'm going to tell you 9 times out of 10, it goes to like minimal schooling. We're not unschoolers by any means. We are always I always end up falling back into a Dave Robinson. I'm thinking Dave Ramsey. Art Robinson curriculum style where it's reading, writing, and arithmetic, kind of the old school style. Hold on. Moonglow says, I was never allowed to do chores because I was told I'd never do them right. Anything we do the first time will never be perfect. It is through practice and repetition that we perfect our ability to do that. So the thing is you can't learn. And here's on the whole thing of it. As a mother, if I say that, and I'm not knocking your mama at all by any means, I just want to tell you from my experience on it. As a mother, if I say that, I'm never giving you that opportunity to practice, to learn how to do it, to have your attempt at it, and then me showing you how to do it. If you go and look at a lot of the Amish learning, they really talk about the fact that it's not about perfection, it's about learning the process. And it does take time to teach that process, but in the end, it'll free you up so much more later. And the other part too is if she's already going to do it, why couldn't you just go in there and attempt to do it? I mean, you might have got like 1% done. Just saying. So for you mamas that are kind of like, no, they won't do it right. Doesn't matter about it being right or being done. And that's a big part for me. It's about me. For me, it's about things getting done, not things always being perfect. Oh, Compass, you made it. You did make it better late than ever. Okay, so then the homeschooling, I always fall back into, as long as they're reading quality literature, and I use the Robinson curriculum, I use Lamplighters as kind of my baseline, or the YWAM, which is Youth with a Mission books. I just got their catalog in. Great catalog. Actually, I have a video from last year that I've still not finished editing because I had to fix the audio. But so quality books, a good math program, and writing, even if it's just copy work. And I can just promise you, if you do that, it will kind of save and cover a lot. It will hold things together even when things aren't doing well. And then some days I'm just on it. And some days I might be a little too much on this, which is something like my heart's been dealing with, is my phone. I might be a little phone addicted, and I'm not really thrilled about that. And just trying to find that balance. Mom time, I'm really bad about mom time, but I'm getting better and I'm prioritizing that. And I think some of that comes down to, if you got a pile of kids or a few kids 5 and under and you can't find a babysitter, your mom time may seriously be when they go to bed and you just walk around the neighborhood and that's all your mom time is. Or you stay up all night and you do crafts and projects because they're finally in bed and you can pull all your stuff out. But you know, it's a work in progress. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not balancing it. Like, there is no perfect balance that everything gets its equal part. It's kind of one of those, it's like, you never know what part of the scale is getting the most of you and getting the least of you. And it kind of goes back into that. We are just putting out the fires. Whatever is the most important and urgent at this moment is what I'm working on. And then I move to the next, you know, just that juggling. And it's moving fast, and I don't know where anything is at. I just know what I'm dealing with that's in my hands at the moment, and I throw it up and take the next thing that's fixing to fall. Tanya says, I took on an 11-year-old girl to homeschool 3 days per week. She fell from a tall slide and has memory problems. Oh, no. We're trying it over the summer since I have 2 toddlers. Oh, that's not good. Just because Mama Butterfly says, just because something isn't done the way I would do it, doesn't mean it's wrong. That's right. And that's a big thing about it is it genuinely wrong, or is it just not my preference? And I had to let go a lot of that. You know, I had to let go. One of the big defining moments in my motherhood was my utensil drawer. In fact, I'm going to show you the one here because it's only fair. I'm going to show you my utensil drawer. There it is. That is literally the silverware and whatnot. I know that looks like a junk drawer. It really could look like it could pass as a junk drawer, but it's not my junk drawer. It's my actual silverware drawer. And there was a point in my motherhood that my kids were starting to do dishes and empty in the dishwasher, and I had this beautiful large utensil divider thing out. And they could not. I would spend so much time reorganizing the silverware, the spoons, the right spoons with the right spoons. And I'd get really aggravated that it wasn't done perfect. And I had to think to myself, like, as I'm having myself a little meltdown, I'm like, is it easier for me just to fix the utensils or to actually do the entire project? And I was like, oh, it's way easier just to fix this than to change it. But then what then comes in, and I got thinking about it, is my preference to have it divided out here is it's so important for everybody to live by. And I took that moment and I pulled up that plastic container, I flipped it upside down and dropped all of the stuff in there. And I took my divider and put it in the shed and didn't think about it anymore. And I just said, you know what? I can't make myself crazy over this, and I can't expect my family to live at this level right now. And I know that there's people who are like, that's nuts. But for me, that became a very much finding peace in my house, because I no longer could see, oh, you didn't put it together. It was, that's just how it is. It's all in there, dig in there, find it, we're good. You got to turn that down, Orville. So Tanya agrees. Yes, we're always putting out. Wait. Let's see. Just Compass says, a good question to ask ourselves is my way the only way to do it, or are other ways acceptable and just as good? That's correct. Tanya says, yes, we were always putting out the fires. Orville, turn it down. 1, 2. Son, you need to get over there and turn it down. It's disrupting my ADHD hyperfocus. Monique says to Compass, that's a good question. guess it depends on what it is. Like if it's chores or cooking, yes. And it does depend. And each activity is definitely different. Turn it down. Hold on a second. Addie. Hold on. Turn that down for me now. Turn it down to 20. Good. Is it? So we have an old TV, a gifted TV, but unfortunately, the dials on it will start going up instead of coming back down. So it's like, oh. Starbucks says that looks a lot like her utensil drawer. That's my utensil drawer. We got it. Tanya says the girl and my Danielle are getting on great. Addie, will you turn it down a little more? It would be good for both girls. Oh, that's awesome when you get to have that blessing. Michelle wants to know when the live starts. 2 p.m. Eastern time. Monique says there are some people who try to push their preference on you because they think they have all the answers when in fact not all advice is good advice. Well, that and the fact that they usually have a very narrow vision, that all I can see is this one way, and it actually has more to do with not the fact that they're right, the fact that they don't know much. You know, they really don't know much. Lady Flora says, when I ask my daughter to set the table, she says, I don't think so. I'm too tired. No, I do the counting to 3 thing too. Does that work? As long as you, whatever the consequences you've decided to do happens sometimes at 2. Then, because the goal is you want them to do it on 1, not 3. And there's people who are like, I don't count because it needs to be done. I'm like, yeah, I count. I was counted too. I count. Dawn says, I went through the season where it is what it is and may not be how I want it, but it works. My hubby would be frustrated that things weren't in their place. And you can always invite him just to do it himself. If you need that done at that level, that needs to be you. I'm good with this. And I've had those seasons too. I was like, you're not here all day. So if you don't want me to lose my ever-loving mind, this is how it needs to be in this season. That is so true. All right. So for balancing, I struggle with that too. I mean, I absolutely struggle with that. And I'm just kind of keeping the fires out. Scheduled meals. So this is a fun question to ask because I don't even know what I'm cooking tonight. I don't know. I know what I have for food. And I literally have decision fatigue at like right when I get off here. I'll be like, okay, I need to figure out what I'm doing for dinner. And I'll just be like, I don't know what I'm doing for dinner. And sometimes I drag it out till 6 p.m. and just whip things together. It would be smarter. I have been thinking about trying to come up with like a 2-week rotation and not necessarily decide when I'm going to eat those foods, but just know I got like these 10 meals over the next 2 weeks to eat and then like cross it out. And once that's done, start again. You know, kind of like, okay, that's done, that's done, that's done. Wipe it. You maybe like laminate it, wipe it off and do it over again. I've thought about that, but then it becomes too predictable for my ADHD brain. And then I get bored with that idea and I want something exciting until it's overwhelming. And then I want something predictable until it's too predictable. And then I want exciting. And so meal planning has always been kind of a hard one for me. And with my daughter, I've still not really figured out how to balance my daughter's needs or how to. I really need to sit down and come up with 10 meals that is kind of like my daughter is taken care of with her food intolerances and the rest of the family has something to eat. And I really need to be in that part and dealing with it. But I don't do that very well. So there you go. I fail at it. I'm just, making it right. Okay. More babies. Somebody wants to know if I'm going to have more babies. So my heart is no. I will tell you, after my 3rd one, my heart has been no so many times. And every time God has just changed my heart in that situation. And when he changes my heart, I'm just like, babies. But until then, I am just like, no. So even happened, I've been done since the third child. And God has opened my heart and changed my heart about it. And I will tell you right now, I am done. My husband, on the other hand, is so open to having babies, it's not funny. And I can tell you, if situations change, even I'm 40 years old, and if situations change coming up or in the future, and God opens my heart to have another baby, I'll have another baby. I hate being pregnant. I hate giving birth, but I will have another baby if God opens my heart to do that again. So I'm definitely telling you it's not a no, but I'm definitely telling you it's not something I'm like, I got to get this done either. And if God wants me having babies in my 40s, then I'm having babies in my 40s. I'm not like really super concerned about the age part at all. It's just kind of how it is. So I want to catch Christina. Okay, Crystal, I did see you. Hi. Christina Nelson says, hi from California. Just finished Christian education, learning to read with my 5-year-old boy. Thank you so much. I learned about it from your channel. It is the best. I love it so much. I really hope to get through the things and then with our kindergarten, get that started with my son about mid-spring, because I just love it. Dawn says, meals are so hard right now, and with special needs are hard. They're hard. And I'm going to tell you, I'm in a tiny kitchen. This is the extent of my counter space. It goes like this. There's no dishwasher. Look, real life, that's what the house looks like. There's no counter space. And because of that, it's just really hard to plan out meals. And then this is the table that we eat at. I'm sitting at today. I'll just show you. That's it. That's all. Like, and there's my dirty laundry. No secrets here. My laundry's out. We barely fit here. And with that said, my joy of cooking is not quite there anymore. So getting that part done. Chaos and Grace made it. Crystal says, Andrea Mills does the cards in rotation. She has a good video on that. I've not implemented one either because my husband works. I love the card rotation. I had started that based off her video, but I won't lie, I just didn't follow through. I don't know. It's predictable until it was boring, until whatever. Lady Flora says, us too, I have no idea what we're eating tonight and what all the different, and we all eat differently, right? Sometimes it's just like, I don't know how it came together. It just came together. What are the ages of my kids? 13. My daughter's 13. My son's 12. My other daughter's 10. My other daughter's 8. My other son, who I keep telling to turn the TV down, is 5. And my caboose at the moment is 3. She's 3 years old. I have on counter no dishwasher either. It drives me nuts. 8 people, no dishwasher. It would make my life so much easier. Mustard seed is in here. Okay, she has a prayer request. My neighbor threatened the workers working on our common wall by shooting them. I'm shaking and making cookies for the men. Oh my goodness. I couldn't even imagine that. Okay, mustard seed. Just I'm going to pray that your neighbor has a change of heart towards people. Oh, that is a hard one. Crystal says, having a tiny kitchen is hard, especially if your dining table is right there in the middle, but we make it work. Yes, we do. We make it work. This has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but this is happening now. No, girl, I got you. We're going to definitely be praying for your neighbor just having a change of heart. Make your neighbor some cookies too. Just make cookies there for him too. All right, so another one that came up, and I'm going to hopefully don't run out of time. So this kind of goes, how do you regulate TV and internet, and how do you keep the kids offline or off the junk online? Okay, I will not lie to you at all. The internet is tricky. It is devious, and bad things will show up in front of your kids, like it or not. So the one nice part is YouTube has definitely done a good job about, I remember we came across some cartoons that looked friendly, they sounded friendly, and the things on the pictures were horrible. Like, you have to be really attentive. But at the same time, we've also run into just doing very innocent searching and having porn pop up. And that is very dangerous too. So one of the things we found, so at first we're very naive, and you can come in and, just use, we have Google Chromebooks, we have tablets. And what we ended up realizing is it's better to set up, to set up a Gmail account, to set up a Google account. And even if it's just your whole family uses this one account, it doesn't matter. Use it and have, or each can have a separate one, but put the age regulating on there. That the age regulation is on there. When things are ugly, try to be happy with kind words, and it may spread kindness. No. When I'm saying ugly things, I'm talking porn. I'm talking full out porn showing up. It was bad. It was really bad. And it was just kind of like popping up. And it wasn't, and then what happens is when that happens, especially if you have young children or you have like the tween age, which is kind of what I've got right now, and I've got a teenager, is they're all of a sudden they're introduced to this stuff and the curiosity kicks in. And then it's like, well, what is it that I just saw? And you're like, stop, don't do that. I think you know not to do that, but the innocence of curiosity can kick in, and you have to be really careful. But the good part is, if you have Google, you can set up those age parameters that are in there. Oh, neighbor issues, kill them with kindness. They're like, I'm so sorry. Anyway, and sometimes you just call the landlord and call the police. It could be one or the other. Try the first and then go for the next. So I have had that part. One of the things we do is in fact, I just had this conversation with a girlfriend. They have their own things. Number one, I'm going to tell you something right here. This is my phone with a grease spot on the back because that's how I roll. This is my phone. My kids are not on it. My kids are not answering my phone unless they're like, Mom, Dad is calling. I'm like, you can answer it. They answer it. They don't automatically answer my phone. They don't read my text messages. They're not on my phone. And if they want to watch YouTube, there's another thing. So this conversation came up on multiple places and platforms with different friends. And one had to do with, I thought I was texting the mom something, and it had to do with like, there was a conflict between our kids. And I was like, hey, texting because I can't talk about this right now. Only to find out her child read that text, not her. And she's like, can you make sure you call me? And I was just like, it like didn't even occur to me that that child should be, and for me, I'm like, this is my phone, my privacy. You have your own thing. And, it can be as easy as an Amazon tablet. It can be as easy as just a separate device that's where they do their stuff on. They don't need to be on mine. And I feel like there should be a sense of boundary between your technology and their technology. And then the other aspect is that boundary. You can inspect and be on their technology all you want because I'm an authority. You cannot be on mine, kind of deal. So we had that. And then you can set the parameters and you can go in there and inspect everything. And then even though they have their own things. So my daughter was gifted a tablet with Wi-Fi from my mom. My other daughter and my son bought their own tablet. I don't care if you own it or not. I am still the mom. And at night, the charging station is in the living room and I oversee them. You're not going to bed with them. You don't have them. And then I'll let you have them when you want. So this kind of pulls into like, how do you motivate schoolwork? Because for me, if you want to use it, every math lesson is a half hour of tablet time, but you can't get on the tablet till 1:00 in the afternoon. So you need to have your stuff done. And then I make it like from noonish to 1. They have to read for an hour and then they can be on it. So for every math lesson, it's a half hour. So during the summer, we just do math. We just work through stacks of math and then we do our reading, but we just do math. Now it comes to school year, it'll be like you got your math done and everything else done also to get that half hour. And the next half hour is if you do another math lesson. So that's kind of the way I motivate my schoolwork. And the other outside is the aspect of like, you will get it done or you're doing nothing else. So get it done kind of deal. And then we use our stuff in open area. And let me tell you, it still can happen in a common area, because when they have it turned this way and they're like, something's up. If they start shutting that thing when you walk in, something's up. And you better take it and take a look at what they're looking at. Chaos and Grace says, I had that happen once with my kids on YouTube. They're not allowed to search for anything. I do it and block the TV while searching, and I monitor the ads too. You can set preferences. You can go in, if you do a Google search, set my Google preferences for child, you can do it. Yes, with that, it can be unexpected and don't know what it is, and trying to explain it to kids is not appropriate behavior for the bodies, right? Chaos and Grace says, too many YouTubers don't censor the ads on their channel. I did. I actually went in there into AdSense and seen what was being, because I was a little bit like, oh, why is this being played on my channel? And I went through, because I want to be a family friendly channel, because I do expect, I'm a mom talking to moms. And if my kids are behind my shoulder, I'm sure your kids are behind your shoulder. And I want to make sure that, I mean, outside of the fact that we talk about like what could happen, and also like menopause and like bodily functions, it's still somewhat censored if there might be an innuendo in there here and there. But for the most part, I want you to feel comfortable that your kids could sit with you, and my kids are in the room too. Kind of those conversations, but it's mommy. We're like, Dawn says, if you have an Android, we have the family link on all devices. Kids need permission to add an app, and some they have the Gmail age set. Yeah, they have the Gmail age set. And then on Netflix, you can put a code in. So we use a code on Netflix. Angela says, I'm having issues with my 8-year-old looking over my shoulder to see what I'm texting and view it at all times. Oh, I'd be snapping that. I'll be like, what the heck do you need? It ain't your business. Move on. But 8 years old is kind of normal for that desire to kind of stretching their wings, want to be up in it. Put your foot down now, otherwise it will be worse in 4 years. Stop it now before it grows worse. Crystal says, same here. All technology stays up at night, and I say what is appropriate. Starbucks says, this is how we treat technology and devices as well. My daughter has a cell phone, and I check hers at least once a week. My boys are 18 before I stop checking theirs. Starbucks says, I've always told them it isn't always because I don't trust them, but I don't trust others. Right. Well, and the fact of, I don't want them. Here's the thing. I'm sure you've had this problem before too, especially like with social media. Things can escalate very quickly because there's a lot of quick mouth texting without a lot of time processing, and then all of a sudden you can end up in a situation where they're just feelings are being hurt. They're not processing it right. Because I'm going to tell you, I am going to hold my mouth a little more accountable if I'm face to face with you. I can take things out of context if it's texting, and I don't want that to be for my kids at all. I don't want that to happen. And so we're actually looking at giving my kids an Instagram account just because they're making friends across the state through 4-H, and then this way they can stay in touch easier. And but it's all going to be closed. Do they need to be on that Instagram account every day? No. They could be on there, once a week checking it, or you know what I mean, just like here and there checking it, but not every day. So that's what I'm looking at. But at the same time, it'll be a closed account, and I will be like, who's this? Who's this? Who's this? And not just letting them get whoever they has friend requested them. Don says yes to all of this, that Trish. There is swift consequences if you abuse your privileges, and my phone is my phone and your stuff is my stuff. That's right. And I've had it too, like we had a situation with stuff coming up, and I was just like, I'm going to help you fight that temptation by taking your internet away. You will not be on internet. And that person, I removed the internet from their life for 6 months. And I was thanked for it later because they realized like that temptation kept messing with them. Trish preach, thanks. Oh, Vix the mom made it. Yay. Moon says Stacy Klein on Our Planet-Based Bunch did a good video on what happened in her family because she wasn't strict enough with the internet. She thought she was doing well, but wasn't. And that's the other part too, is like my family is not heavy technology. They are Netflix crazy. But they are not really free for all. I have been having problems with my 5-year-old with my iPad playing, and at some point I might just take YouTube off of my iPad because he's sneaking in there on it and I gotta watch him. He's crafty. If you find 2 calculations in the child's phone, one is a calculator and one is a secret pictures. Oh wow. Angel says thanks for the advice. Jennifer says I always tell my kids what's mine is mine and what's yours is mine. Isn't that right? I birthed you. This is what I got told growing up. If you want to leave before you're 18, you can leave the way you came, naked, owning nothing. That's what we were always told growing up, and we're like, for mine. All right, so what curriculum am I using next year? I'm going to do a full video on that, but I will tell you we are going with classical conversations. I'm not exactly sure how it's all going to work out. I'm set up at this moment to be directing Challenge A, which I think will be exciting and amazing. But at the same time, we're looking at making some changes with our family and our living situation around here. And there's possibility that some things might not work out. But I have bought all my curriculum, and I will be doing a full video on that soon. Soon. Vehicle suggestion, anything big. So if you got, that was one for seven kids, what kind of vehicle would you suggest? I have a minivan that seats 7. And even with me and the kids is 7 only, it is too claustrophobic and it's too overwhelming to deal with all of us in there. So I don't like driving it with all of us. I definitely use it just to kind of get around town and keep it close. We have a van, club wagon van, Chevy. And they're really nice to use. They're easy to use. I will tell you though, if I could go buy one of them new like Transits, those new really good vehicles, they are so much more user-friendly because the big van, the 15-passenger van, we take the back seat out, is so easy to keep us all in there, carry our stuff so we're good. But it's really hard to move in there. The minivan doesn't fit all of us, but it's so easy to get things in and out. And I feel like the new passenger vans that they've come out and they've really restyled over the last few years really hit the positives of both sides. So if I were you, I'd try to do that. We've talked about like a excursion or a Suburban. You're supposed to go ask Addie. Go get Addie, and I'll ask her to do it for you. And we've looked at those, but the vehicles are so. Oh, you'll have to wait then. I'm going to be done in just a minute. So I feel she's going to go in there anyways. Yeah, and so I just feel like it's a much, like you could get the Suburbans and you could get all that, but you don't have the option to seat more. Look, she's just going to take, why don't you get a fork? Why don't you get a fork and eat out of there? Get a fork. Hey, get a fork and eat it out of the pan. It's hash browns with eggs on. Like, I don't know. I think I seen it on the past. I don't know who I saw it on. But essentially, like, you cook the sausage and the potatoes, and then after they're about cooked, you crack eggs on it, stick in the oven. That's what we do. So they wanted that today, and now it's like, oh, I want to keep eating it. Eat it. So I like those. The problem with the Suburbans and things like that is you can only put 8 people in there, and the thing is huge, gas guzzling, and then you don't always have the storage. The The passenger vans aren't near as cool. Well, the new ones definitely are cool, but the old ones aren't. But it gives you that ability to be comfortable. It gives you to space the kids out. It gives you the way to storage. But if you need to haul a ton of people, you can still haul a ton of people. So I do like those. But, in the end, it's whatever floats your boat. All right. Oh, I did it. How I motivate schoolwork. I told you. I offer electronics later on. Jennifer says she was told that too, that you can leave the way you came with nothing. Darcy says she's doing CC too. Homeschool from the Heart says giving my kids net access was the worst mistake I ever made. It opened doors that you can't close. Since it's been gone, I feel I have my kids back. Right. And that's true, because that's what we had too going. And it did. I felt like I got my kid back, that got kind of caught up in seeing stuff that he shouldn't have been seeing. My girls have iPads. I set both as kid accounts so they can't access of things, and I downloaded YouTube Kids. That's what I need to do, is download YouTube Kids. Odette says I have a Ford Transit. I love it. Mom of 7. Nona says I had a full-size Chevy van and we would remove the second seat. I've removed the second seat. I've removed the last seat. I like removing the second seat because it gives more of a sound buffer when you got screaming kids. Oh, that's lovely. She's eating it and it's like, she's just like a face doll over here. I kind of like the back remove because it just kind of gives me more room. Antonia says, thanks. Drove the Nissan yesterday, 12 passenger. Oh, cool. Odette says, I can space the children out and I can go inside into car seats. The walk is my, and walk to my seat all while being inside. That's what I love about it. With mine being the older one, I got the bench seat, so you got to go around. We have a Chevy Express. It's in 2003. Yeah, but at the same time, I've spent so much money on a brand new vehicle. I don't really have the heart to buy a brand new vehicle at all. So it's 3 o'clock. It's after 3 o'clock, and it's definitely my time to get off here and get things moving the way I need to get things moving. I hope you all enjoyed my videos I've got going on with Homeschool for 2. She put up hers yesterday. So I have a playlist going on those. And then I have 2 more videos with her too. So I'm going to go ahead and pray for us and get us out of here. And then I'm going to go take care of all this. Go back to balancing that motherhood again. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this time that you brought together. Thank you so much for making the opportunity that we can converse and not be about what I have to say, but actually answering questions that are curious and need to be done. Lord, I know that we hit a lot of topics today, and Lord, I just bless the ears that needed to hear those topics today. Lord, please be with Stacy as her surgery got rescheduled and just bring healing to her on that. Dear Lord, be with Mustard Seed as she's definitely dealing with a very tense moment of a very disgruntled neighbor. Lord, just change the heart of that neighbor and bring patience for both. Patience to not be angry and patience to know how to handle a situation like this. Lord, just let the peace come over them and just bring ease with it. Dear Lord, be with the child that fell off the slide and just let her have healing. And if there's a bigger problem that's going on, Lord, let that be known and let that be healed. Dear Lord, thank you for the blessings you give us for us coming together and getting to be part of this for one another, that we can be fellowship, even if it's just 1 hour virtually every week, just to give us that fellowship in this mission field that we've called to be part of as a stay-at-home mom. Lord, give us confidence and protect us as we go against the grain and as the world comes to us and ridicules the decisions that we've made or demands higher expectations for what we do, Lord. Let us sit in confidence that what we're here is doing your work and not trying to look like the world. Lord, again, thank you for this technology that you provide for us, and all this we say and ask in your son's precious name. Amen. All right. So, oh, Mary, you made it. So thank you. Yes, like the videos. Thank you. Thank you. Have a good afternoon. Yes, I will see you later. I'm fixing to take care of that. I'll talk to you then. Look at her. You see that grin? Like, you see it? Give him that little sly grin of yours. She's like, nah. There it is. There it is. Oh, she's so crazy. Are you crazy? That one. The force is strong. The force of her mother. All right, we'll talk to you later. Bye.